Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're dropping you right into the shoes of an ISO 14001-2026 lead auditor. Picture this, you're just stepping out of your car, grabbing your hard hat, and walking onto the site for a full, comprehensive audit. It's a high-stakes environment, right? Your goal isn't just to casually check a few compliance boxes, but to rigorously evaluate the true environmental reality of the facility standing right in front of you.
So here's the million-dollar question. How do you actually uncover the environmental reality of an entire organization? Because you definitely can't just sit in a comfy conference room reading a beautifully bound manual. No way. To find the truth behind all that paperwork, you've got to embark on a highly structured, evidence-based journey through the facility. You need to see firsthand how their daily processes actually interact with the environment out there in the real world.
Okay, let's dive right in. We'll be walking through three crucial phases of your audit day: the opening meeting, field audit triangulation, and finally, the closing meeting. Starting things off with Phase 1, the opening meeting, where we set the stage.
When you first sit down with top management and the environmental reps, your primary goal is to build an immediate foundation of trust, transparency, and professional authority. You want to transition smoothly from your pre-audit prep right into execution. Step 1 is aligning expectations, making sure everyone in the room actually understands the audit's objectives and how they map to the company's broader environmental strategy. Step 2, you confirm the scope boundaries. In Step 3, you establish psychological safety.
Actually, let's pause on that last point for a second because it is absolutely paramount. It's all about psychological safety, not assigning blame. As the lead auditor, you have to set a collaborative, blame-free tone right from the jump. Think about it. If the auditees feel defensive or fear they're going to get punished, they're going to hide things. You want them feeling totally comfortable engaging openly with you about their processes, their challenges, and even their near misses. You're framing the audit as a catalyst for improvement, not an interrogation.
All right, once that trust is established, you move on to boundaries. This is your moment to confirm exactly what is and isn't concluded in the audit. We're talking physical boundaries, outsourced activities, life cycle impacts, and compliance obligations. You absolutely need to ensure you capture all relevant environmental interactions. For example, say an electronics manufacturer outsources a highly polluting process to a supplier in another region. You need to confirm right then and there if that external supplier's influence is inside your audit scope. Nailing this down early prevents a whole lot of ambiguity and headaches later on.
Moving right along to Phase 2. Field audit triangulation. Time to uncover the truth. With the opening meeting wrapped up and the scope officially locked in, it's time to throw on your PPE and head out onto the operational floor. This is where you deploy the brilliant strategy of triangulation. You're interlocking observation, interviews, and document review to reveal the complete operational reality. First, you observe actual conditions, like are the spill kits actually accessible and fully stocked? Then you interview the staff to assess their competence, asking them directly about the specific environmental risks they manage. And finally, you review the documents to verify consistency, checking the maintenance logs for those exact same spill kits. When these three techniques converge, boom, you get the undeniable truth of how their environmental management system is really functioning. You see, a documented procedure might promise this utopian scenario where waste is perfectly segregated and flawlessly labeled. But the operational reality? Well, that could be unlabeled, mixed waste bins sitting casually on the factory floor. This stark contrast is exactly why direct observation is a total game changer. You are constantly comparing what the pristine paperwork promises against what's actually happening out there in the noise and dust of the facility.
Now, for the interview piece of the puzzle, you want to lean on neutral, open-ended questions. Try asking something like, walk me through how deviations in wastewater discharge are identified and reported here. Notice how we aren't asking a simple yes or no question there, and we definitely aren't spoon-feeding them the correct answer. This kind of phrasing forces the interviewee to explain the process in their own words. It lets you accurately assess their real environmental awareness, their competence, and honestly, how well communication is actually flowing up the chain of command.
As you gather all this field evidence, you're going to face a major analytical challenge. You have to apply professional judgment to distinguish isolated incidents from systemic weaknesses. Look at it this way. Let's say you find one temporary waste bin out of place, and you find out it's because of an ongoing, approved facility renovation. Okay, that might just be a one-off, isolated issue. But what if you find improperly stored chemicals across 3 entirely different departments? That right there is a systemic weakness in their operational control. It takes a really sharp, objective eye to tell the difference.
And that brings us to Phase 3,
the closing meeting, where you deliver the verdict. After you've thoroughly gathered, verified, and triangulated your evidence across the facility, you head back to the boardroom to present your findings constructively to the leadership team. You want to structure this logically to keep everyone tracking right along with you. Step 1, state your overall conclusion. Give them the big picture of the system's effectiveness right up front. Step 2, present the conformities and the positive practices you observed. Always highlight what they're doing right. And finally, step 3, communicate the nonconformities. The trick is to always guide them from the macro view of the entire system straight down into the specific, actionable details.
Let's clarify exactly what we mean when we hit that third step. A nonconformity is strictly defined as a failure to fulfill an environmental management system requirement. But pay close attention to this next part. It is an opportunity to address a system weakness, not a personal shortcoming. This is absolutely crucial. A nonconformity is never, ever about finding a scapegoat. It's about identifying a breakdown in the system's underlying processes, whether that's inadequate resources, poor communication, or maybe a lack of training, so the whole organization can learn and adapt. To deliver these findings effectively without triggering a massive defensive reaction from management, you'll want to use a very specific professional three-step method. First, you state the exact ISO 14001 requirement. Second, you present the objective evidence you just triangulated out on the floor. And third, you explain the deviation, how the evidence clearly shows they missed that requirement. This creates absolute transparency. If you tell them, ISO requires compliance evaluation for waste disposal, I reviewed your records, and there were no evaluations for the past 12 months, well, that leaves zero room for subjective debate. It's just pure, objective fact.
The ultimate goal here is to make it crystal clear to the management team that their corrective actions need to target systemic root causes, not just superficial symptoms. If an emission filter fails, sure, it's super easy to just blame operator error and move on. But as a lead auditor, you've got to push them to look deeper. The real issue might actually be an inadequate competency framework, sloppy maintenance schedules, or even a total lack of supervision. Treating the symptom just guarantees the environmental problem is going to pop up again. Fixing the root cause, that eliminates it permanently.
As you wrap up that closing meeting, you want to leave them with a truly powerful perspective. An audit is not a fault-finding mission, but a catalyst for continual environmental improvement. You're walking out of that room reminding everyone that your ultimate goal as a lead auditor isn't just to slap a compliance report card on the desk. It's to empower their entire journey toward true sustainability, dramatic risk reduction, and genuine long-term organizational resilience.
So, I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Whether you're reviewing your own internal processes or you're gearing up to conduct an external assessment, are your audit findings merely correcting symptoms, or are they driving sustainable systemic change? Let that question sit with you, and let it inspire you as you step into your next facility, fully prepared to lead a truly transformative environmental audit.